Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name's Ryan. Please consider subscribing, and let's get on with today's video. Today I want to make an instructional video for you guys on how to drive a manual transmission. Back in the day when I was learning how to drive a manual, all the videos on the internet I felt weren't as helpful as they should have. You know, they took you through the steps and whatnot, but there's a few tips and tricks that I've learned over the last 35,000 miles between, my Wrangler and this car. It can help so many of you out on the road if you're trying to learn manual. If you're even considering learning or purchasing a manual, I'm going to say yes, it is a must. It has been the funnest, last 2-3 years of my driving career because of a manual. It is so fun. I will say it is probably the best decision I ever made was to purchase that Wrangler. There's a 6-speed manual because it's probably the funnest thing I've ever learned. Here's my first tip for you. If you're either considering or you're here watching this video to learn how to drive a manual because you want to get a manual, I'm gonna say your first step and the most important step is to go out and get that car. There is no better way to learn than if you already own the car and you're forcing yourself to learn manual. You're not gonna learn as well. You contact your buddy that has one. Yo, can you come over tonight? We can practice and stuff like that. Practice for about 30 minutes and then, he goes home, does whatever. If you own the car, you are forced to drive it. You are forced to learn and you are forced to drive it because that's the only way you're gonna get from point A to point B is to learn. And to say that 30 minutes, every day with your friend or your buddy or your dad and his car will take forever compared to you buying that car, you driving it home or you getting it home and it's in your driveway. Now you force yourself to drive it around your neighborhood, around the block, around the park, wherever. If you force yourself to drive a car you now own, you will learn like that, I promise you. When I went to get my Wrangler, I couldn't even test drive it. My buddy went with me. We took it to a Lowe's parking lot. I stalled it so many times. Went home, we came back the next day. My buddy couldn't come that day. I had to drive it home. I drove it home over an hour and 15 minutes through traffic because I knew I had to drive it home and I was forced to. If I wanted this, I had to drive it home. So even though the clutch in my foot was shaky, I got it home. So first things first, so forcing yourself is the best way to start. We're gonna go over a few things here, difference between an automatic and a manual real quick, and we'll get on with the tutorial. The first thing you're gonna notice is there are 1, 2, 3 pedals. Obviously, people know you've got your clutch, you've got your brake, you've got your gas. That's one difference between an automatic and a manual. The next part of this tutorial, I will be putting a GoPro on my head to give you the first person view of all this. Please excuse the look, but I want to give you guys the best shot possible. So the next thing you notice, besides the 3 pedals, is you do not have a PRND123L any shifter. You have, you've got your reverse, you've got your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth gears. Sometimes you have sixth, and in Corvettes now you have 7. First thing, to start the car, you must push in the clutch. If you don't push in the clutch, it's a safety feature. The car will not start in most vehicles. If you have a key start, you put the key in and start it. I happen to have a push start, so you're gonna sit here and your car will start. Make sure, you'll see a lot of people who drive manual wobble it back and forth. That's to make sure your shifter is in neutral. And at this point, you can let out the clutch knowing your car is in neutral. I'm gonna roll up the windows here. That's 5% tint for you. With manual, you'll notice that there is no park. So if you leave your car in neutral, you get out, walk away, your car could be rolling, 30 feet down this hill. A main key to a manual transmission is your parking brake right here. When you, put your car in park, you're literally putting the parking brake on. This will stop your car from rolling. You can also do something where you can park your car in gear. Shut the car off and your car will be in gear so the transmission will hold the car back. It's kind of how an automatic works. The transmission locks your car. Mainly use your parking brake. It's easier on the gears and all that stuff. On steep hills, if my car is facing down, I will put the car in reverse. And if the car is facing backwards, I will put it in first or second gear. Only on steep inclines to add a little more, backup to this parking brake. To start off in a manual transmission, this is the hardest part about manual. Starting off, first gear is the hardest gear of them all. I recommend, once you get your manual transmission car, go to a parking lot, go to your driveway, and take you know, take your shoe off. Sit there on your clutch. You don't have to take your shoe off, but it's a lot easier to take your shoe off. You're gonna sit here. You're gonna put your car in gear. Slowly let out the clutch. And when you see the RPMs drop and feel the car starting to grunt forward, you've found your release point. With your shoe off, you'll be able to feel it in your foot. With your shoe on, it's more of like a sound and around you. You know, you'll feel it in, you know, the ground and the chair and all that stuff compared to in your foot. But if you have your shoe off, you'll be able to feel the release point in your foot because the car it'll vibrate through the pedal. So I recommend, first thing you do, find the release point of the clutch. That's the point of where the clutch, you know, meets your gears and will start moving the car forward. Find the release point. That is a key because it will never change. It will always be the same release point, no matter what. Once you find that, you're golden. Now, many cars, you will be able to release the clutch slow enough that the car will start moving on its own and will not stall. If you do it right, almost all cars are able to do that. Clutch in, put it in first, and you'll feel the car start to lean forward and roll. And like I said, look at this, we're rolling. I haven't even put my foot on the gas yet. And foot off the clutch, and we're rolling. We're gonna stop here, clutch in, brake. Master that first. Find your release point, get the car rolling without any gas, and your life will be so much easier. The next step is you're gonna put the clutch in, get in first gear, find that release point, hear the RPMs die, give it a little gas, and start moving. Just like that, you're already in first gear, you're off and running. You've learned the hardest part of this whole process, getting going. Do it again for you. Neutral. Set clutch in, first gear, let it out, find your release point, and I can find it right here. Little gas, clutch out a little more, and you're good. The first problem people have is they'll feel the clutch, you know, meet, and they'll start giving it gas and they'll just dump the clutch. That will stall the car. Slowly release that clutch, let it, you know, it's not good for it, but at the beginning it's fine to learn this way. Slowly let the clutch out and give it gas at the same time. You don't want to hold the clutch, you know, at that release point for long because you'll start burning the clutch. But when you get, you know, just to get going, it's okay to, you know, find that release point, hold it there, give it gas, and slowly let out the clutch, slower than you ever have before. Okay, the next thing we're gonna get to is shifting. You've passed the hardest part by far. The hardest part is getting started. So, shifting gears. So get going. You're gonna come through. Let me get to the stop sign here. So come through, first gear. Your RPMs are gonna get high. You're gonna push in the clutch, pull the second, and slowly let out the clutch again. So just like that, you've learned getting started and shifting gears. Shifting gears is the easiest part about driving a manual. Getting started is the hardest. Once you master that catch point and your car will start rolling, shifting gears is cake. You going from first to second gear, extremely easy. So now you've learned starts and now you've learned, you know, gear changes. I'm gonna start talking about a few things you'll run into in a manual. This car right here has something called hill assist. Some of the older cars do not. What it means is if you're on a hill, you let off that brake to push in the clutch. I mean, that's it. You only have 2 feet. So if you're gonna let out the clutch and you're gonna let out, you're gonna let off the clutch and you want to give it gas, your car will start rolling because your foot's no longer on the brake. So new cars have hill assist where it'll hold your car for 5 to 7 seconds. As soon as you let off the brake and you give it gas, the car will be able to roll, you know, it will be able to start rolling forward, you know, up the hill without you rolling backwards in the car behind you. When I had my Wrangler, I didn't have that. So you let off the brake, your car will run backwards. Like I said, master the catch point, you will not have to worry about that. Because as soon as that light turns green, or you know, you wait your seconds at the stop, you know, at the stop sign, you find that catch point before, like right now I found the catch point. Find the catch point while you're on the brake, and it's a swift transition. Find the catch point, brake gas, and you'll start rolling forward. No problem. That's what I said. The best tip ever. Master your catch point. I'm going to run you guys through a few on-the-road sequences here. I'll show you how, you know, the footwork works while you're on the road. Getting started at stop signs and whatnot. And a few things I run through myself when I'm driving on the road. First thing is when there's oncoming traffic and stuff in a stuff in an automatic transmission where you just gun it, you will have to be a little more careful. If you're just gonna gun it in a manual, chances are, without experience or even with experience, there's a high probability of you stalling it because you're gonna be so inclined to dump that clutch and give it all gas. You know, you're gonna give it all to her. She's not gonna like that. So they say stop signs, and when you have a manual, are optional. I say that because shifting from, you know, or starting from second gear rolling is a lot easier than starting from first. Just kidding. Obey all laws. I do cut a few seconds off, and everyone who has driven manuals do cut a few seconds off their stop sign. Now we're in third gear, fourth gear, and we'll go all the way up to fifth for you. This car is nice because here it'll tell you when to shift. Other than that, you kind of got to listen for it. Coming into turns, you'll see second gear. As you come around the corner, you'll hold second gear. Driving your car, you'll learn your car and figure out what gear you need to be in for certain things. Don't worry about, you know, stopping with downshifting hardly ever, you know, when you first started. Set a stop sign here, first gear start, find your catch point, and go. It changes your whole outlook on driving. It makes driving really fun, and you will never look back, and you almost will never own another automatic vehicle because it just makes driving so fun. Now, there's another thing, is downshifting to speed up. That's one thing I probably should have mentioned. Downshifting to speed up is something you will need to learn. Downshifting to stop isn't as important as downshifting to speed up. If you ever, like in your automatic car, if you ever slam on the gas, you'll feel the car RPM shoot up and you'll feel the car take off. That's pretty much you downshifting in a manual. If I want to speed up, I'm in fourth gear, but I want to speed up, the only way to get there, I can't hammer on it. The car will slowly accelerate. If you want quick, fast, you know, an immediate acceleration, you're gonna have to go down a gear because there's more, you know, more torque. So to get there, you're gonna push in the clutch. You're gonna give it a little bit more gas than where you're at. And, you know, let out the clutch. I said I gave the, you know, I feathered the gas there a little bit for you guys. So let's say I'm driving right now. Let me go around this corner and I'll do it again for you. But like I said here, we're gonna go to fourth gear. So we're driving here. If I were to put my foot to the floor like I did, the car will slowly gain speed. If I want instant acceleration for, you know, passing people on the highway, passing people on the dash yellow, as you can see here. If I want instant acceleration, you need more torque, so you're gonna go down a gear to get there. Like I said, don't worry about downshifting as much when you're first learning. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to, mess around a little bit and take control and take command of your car. But like I said, here we're in 4th gear. We want to get some speed. To get there, you're going to put the clutch in. Right now we're at 2,000 RPMs. You want to throw it up to about 3,000 and let out the clutch. Shift to 4. You can see each gear has a different RPM, area to do it. But if you were to let the clutch out, go to 3rd, and I were to let the clutch out without giving it any gas, you'll notice that the car tugs you back hard before it accelerates. And that's because the transmission has to catch up with the speed of the engine. Before you know it, you won't be thinking about any of this. It's like coming on a stoplight here, but at stoplights, we're the ones working hard to drive, put the car, in neutral, foot off the clutch, hang out. When it's go time, let off the brake. The people behind you, don't worry about it. As soon as you worry about the people behind you, that's when you'll mess up. We're working hard to drive unlike the people behind us. We're working hard, we're having fun driving with manual, 3 pedals, clutch, all that. Don't worry about the person behind you. They're sitting there in their automatic car, either having their morning coffee or, getting mad because they came home after work and they're angry. You're working hard to drive. Don't worry about that guy behind you. Other than that, guys, if I could say one thing, master the catch point. As soon as you master that catch point, you know exactly where your car is going to start rolling. You know exactly, the position you need to be in on hills, where your foot needs to be, on the throw length of your clutch for it to, start moving. You're already ahead of the game, knowing your catch point, in the back of your mind. As soon as you feel that, muscle memory will kick in. You will always know where the, catch point is. Even when I get new cars at work, if I go pick up like a Z06 Corvette or something from a dealership, I find the first thing I do, find the, because every car's, catch point is different. First thing I do, find that Corvette's, catch point. Find that Wrangler's catch point we pick up at a dealership. As soon as you do that, driving that car is a breeze. Shoot a stoplight, start. Around the corner. Like I said, guys, driving a manual is extremely fun, entertaining, and it changes your whole outlook and aspect on driving. If you're considering a manual transmission, standard, or stick shift transmission, whatever you call it, wherever you are, I highly recommend it. If you guys have any questions, comments for me or for learning stick, please let it down. Leave it in the comments below. I will be glad to help you guys. I will be glad to, set you guys up with another video on, certain aspects of stick, if that's what you guys need and or want. I want to say thank you guys for watching. If you have not been here before, please get down there, click subscribe. The support means so much to me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. And like I said, please leave me comments below if you have any questions. I'll be so willing and so glad to help. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. People are like, oh my god, it's a lot of work. In theory it is, but it's so much fun it doesn't feel like work. That's the goal of this. It's so fun it doesn't feel like work, and that's where people are misled, where they think it's gonna be a lot of work, but in reality it is more work, but it's so fun you can hardly call it work. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video. Peace.